Howdy YouTube family, it's Bolt CRNA, or for the purpose of this video, I should say Dr. Bolt CRNA. Today we're going to get into a more intimate, personal topic that I don't often talk about. Very few people actually know this about me. We're going to talk about my journey to becoming Dr. Bolt CRNA and how I went from being a high school dropout to becoming Dr. Bolt CRNA. Now let's dial it all the way back to 2005, 2006, when I was a senior in high school. I had started my senior year. I was a good student all the way through school. I was always gifted. I was always in AP classes, gifted classes. I always had an A or B average, but I never did well enough to make all A's. I typically just phoned it in a little bit and made B. Now during this time period, my parents have been going through years-long divorce. There's 4 of us children. We're all 4 kids in 5 years, so you know, all of us were teenagers at the same time, and we're all running around doing our own things, living our own lives. Our parents are busy with their divorce, their relationship, they're working. Dealing with us kids as teenagers was not something they were like, this is a tricky thing to say. So my parents were doing the best they could do, I believe. And they were busy, they were working, they had things they were handling. They were not able to be with all 4 of us kids and monitoring everything we were doing all the time. And to be fair, we were pretty independent, rebellious teenagers, typical teenagers going through a long, messy divorce. We were rebellious against our parents and pretty much wanted to do our own things and wanted our parents to leave our lives alone. So during this process, of course, things slipped through the cracks. Something that slipped through the cracks that hit me my senior year of high school was the fact that when I was in 9th grade, I showed up a couple days late for school. And if you're late for school at my school at this time, you had what was called time for time, and it was essentially detention. It means that if you showed up 10 minutes late for class in the morning, you had to stay 10 or 15 minutes late for school afterwards in a detention hall. So I had a couple of those in all 4 of my block courses that I took in my freshman year, first semester. I was kind of rebellious. I said, you know, I didn't care, and it was no big deal. And I think I served a couple of them, but I don't think I served all of them. So long story short, I finished the semester, get my grades. They were all pretty much A's and B's. I moved on and went on to senior year. Now, technically in the rule books, it says if you don't serve every single of your little detention things that you got for a course, you're given a 0 for the class. Apparently, they took that quite literally, and they weren't kidding, because my senior year came around and the vice principal calls me into his office and says, hey, I just want to let you know you've got all 0s for all 4 of your courses you took first semester of 9th grade, and you're going to have to retake all those classes. And I explained to them that can't be right. I had all A's and B's. You know, those were my actual grades were A's and B's. This must be because of some detention thing that wasn't served. And they said, yes, it is. And they're just now letting me know years later when I'm a senior and you know, preparing for my final year of school to graduate, they're saying, hey, you have a 0 in these classes, you have to retake them. I, of course, thought surely there's a way around this. You know, I'm a good student. I have nothing on my record. I have good grades. I'm in college prep courses. I have every, you know, plan to be going into college next year. So can I not just serve the detentions, like the handful of detentions that were pending back then, just serve them and get credit for the classes? The vice principal seemed to take pleasure in the fact of saying no. And I guess he thought he was teaching me a life lesson or something, but he insisted, no, there's no way to do anything about this except retake all those courses. Now, of course, I had a full course of classes my senior year I had to still take. So in order for me to take 4 more classes from freshman year, that meant that I would have to return. I wouldn't graduate. I would finish out my senior year and have to return the following year and do a whole extra semester of classes, and then graduate the following year with the kids behind me, the year behind me, which was my sister's you know, class. Of course, I was appalled. I could not believe this was happening. This felt totally unfair, unjust. I didn't think this was appropriate, and I told him I refuse. I said, I will not serve those classes again. I will not do my classes this year and then come back and redo a whole other semester of classes for a couple detentions that I didn't serve 4 years ago that was not brought to my attention until senior year of high school. So essentially I got up, I walked out of his office, and I said I quit. Like I said, context here, my parents are still very caught up with what's going on in their lives and the divorce and stuff. So my mother and father were upset to hear this news, and I think my mother did go and talk to the vice principal and try and get him to, change his mind, and he said no, and then it was pretty much dropped from there. It was, from there I was like, okay, well, your plan is to go get your GED then, and then go to college after that. So the following year, I pretty much didn't do anything constructive. My initial plan was to immediately get my GED and enroll in college early and, get a head start on things. It just did not happen when you're 17, 18, especially going through like a rebellious phase and your parents are kind of still going through their own thing. You're getting caught up in, working, earning money, going out with friends, having fun, things like that. So the following year, I pretty much worked at Hollywood Video and I worked in the electronics department at Walmart. And that was the most constructive things that I did for an entire year of my life. But finally, the following year, I kicked myself in the pants and said, all right, time to get yourself on a roll. It's the year 2007. It's time for you to get enrolled in college and get started on your educational journey. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, I did take the GED exam and pass it during that year that I was working at Walmart and Hollywood Video. I did take the GED, passed it, and so that gave me the ability to go to a community college. I did not want to go to community college. I wanted a fresh start. I think a lot of 18, 19-year-olds are like this in their mind. They want to move away from home where they grew up. They want a fresh start. They want to do something new. So that's what I did. My father, after the divorce, my father moved to Alabama. So he had a spare room in his home, a guest bedroom, and he said I could come and move in with him. And there was 2 community colleges and a large university nearby his home. So I said, sure, that sounds great. I'll move out there. I'll get started at the community college because with a GED and a high school dropout kind of history, it's going to be harder to get into a university right away. So I figured what I can do my first year or two is go to school at the community college, earn good grades, make A's, and then transfer to a university when it's time, once I've built up my GPA and built up a little bit of a resume to get in. At the same time, that's when I started working at a local hospital, mostly just because I knew it was good pay and good benefits, and I wanted to work somewhere that I knew had, some job security. So started working at the hospital. That's when I started meeting nurses, started seeing what they were doing, realizing that was an amazing career field, that was what I wanted to do, and that's when I made my major into nursing. From there, of course, you guys probably know, I did 2 years of my undergrad at that community college, made good grades, good GPA, applied to the local Bachelor of Science in Nursing program at the university nearby, and went into that program, completed that program. During that program, there was a moment when I was thinking about med school, but then I met a CRNA and realized that being a CRNA was exactly what I wanted to do. Graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, did 2 years in the local ICU where I got a lot of my foundational skills as a nurse and my ICU skills down. Then I went 2 years travel nursing. While I was travel nursing, I got my CCRN, I got my GRE done, I got my letters of recommendation in, I submitted my application to CRNA programs, I submitted to 3 different programs in 3 different states to give myself a good diversity or varied places that I could apply to, and hopefully one of them wanted me. And luckily, one of them outright said, we don't want to interview you at all. Another program said, we want to interview you. I interviewed and they waitlisted me. And the third program interviewed me and said, we want you. And so luckily I got in there, went to CRNA school there, did 3 years in their program, graduated July 2019 and became Dr. Jason Bolt, CRNA. There are a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds out there. There's lots of people who have worse situations than I had. You can hear some of them on YouTube. You can go around looking at different pages and hear people's stories and backgrounds and realize, wow, they came from, some terrible environment in a third world country or something. My history, I don't want you to feel bad for me because I obviously had a lot of privilege. We weren't wealthy or anything, but we had everything that we really needed, I'll say that. And my parents went through a divorce just like most of Americans' parents have gone through a divorce. Yes, it threw a monkey wrench in my teenage years, and yeah, I'd had some trouble with high school and did have to do the GED and had some issues there, but I thrived. I turned adversity into something fruitful. It's a story of how you can take something where you feel like you're a loser, you're a nobody, because there were definitely moments when I was looking around working at Walmart with a GED at 18 years old, and all of my friends had went off to college and they were going to nice prestigious universities and colleges, and that was supposed to be my plan, and somehow I was working at Walmart making minimum wage, getting yelled at by a mean manager, and realizing my life is going nowhere. And I definitely felt bad about myself, and I started to wonder, like, am I going to have the future that I always thought I was going to have? And I realized, you know what? I'll have that future, but only if I fight tooth and nail for it. Only if I do the work that I have to do for it. Only if I sacrifice for it. And no one else is going to do it for me. And if I let life kick me while I'm down and hold me down, I'll stay down and I'll never get anywhere. The whole reason I'm telling you guys this story is because a lot of you guys have backgrounds and things stacked against you, obstacles in your way to get you to your goal. I don't want you to look at me and think that I just had everything handed to me and that I just didn't struggle to get where I'm at. I struggled too. The good news is you can get to where you want to be just like I got to where I want to be. I hope that was inspirational to you guys. I want to hear your stories down in the comments below about where you came from, where you're at now, and where you're headed. The way that you get to achieve your goals is by setting the goals on paper, letting yourself know this is what I'm going to be doing, and then each step of the way you achieve a little step closer and closer, and you celebrate that. So I want to hear down below, where are you at in your process? What are your goals, and what are you about to do next? And start wrapping your mind around the fact that you're already there, you just haven't physically done it yet. You're already on your journey, you're already going to be reaching that goal. Now you just have to take those steps forward and actually reach it. Make sure and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. It's the YouTube algorithm. If you like it and you subscribe, they recommend more people to the channel, and that helps us grow the community. Go over and join the mentorship. I am loving connecting with you guys and talking with you one-on-one and doing the live chats and exclusive videos with you guys in the mentorship program over on the channel here. So hit that membership, get in there. Whether you just do the silver plan, the 99 cents a month, that's all you got to do. Get in the club and I'll connect with you. Follow me over on Instagram. It's Bolt CRNA over there. I do daily videos and things like that. Try and keep some comedy, some inspiration, some behind the scenes view of the CRNA world. And that is essentially Bolt out.